Good evening. I hope I find you well. Daily living for the 17th of August 2026. I so loved you that I gave my one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. For I did not send my Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. That's the Gospel of John, chapter 3, verses 16 to 17. I, who did not spare my own Son, but give him up for you, how will I not also, along with him, graciously give you all things? And that's St. Paul's letter to the Romans, chapter 8, verse 32. I so loved you that I did not spare my own Son, Jesus. Yeah, that's the story there. Now, our little hymns. Say hello to Sacred Heart of Jesus. Sweetheart of Jesus, fount of love and mercy, today we come thy blessing to implore. Oh, touch our hearts, so cold and so ungrateful, and make us love thee more and more each day. Sweetheart of Jesus, we implore. Oh, make us love thee more and more. Sweetheart of Jesus, make us pure and gentle, and teach us how to do thy blessed will, to follow close the print of thy dear footsteps, and when we fall, sweetheart, oh, love us still. Sweetheart of Jesus, we implore. Oh, make us love thee more and more. That loved you up there, Sacred Heart of Jesus. Keep an eye on things. On down, our Blessed Mother. Say hello to our Blessed Mother. Lovely lady, dressed in blue, teach me how to pray. How are you, Blessed Mother? I love you, Blessed Mother. So we start off with our little prayer, our little hymn. Hail, Queen of Heaven, the ocean star, guide of the wanderer here below. Thrown on life's surge, we claim thy care. Save us from peril and from woe. Mother of Christ, Star of the sea, pray for the wanderer, pray for me. O gentle, chaste, and spotless maid, we sinners make our prayers to thee. Remind thy Son that he has paid the price of our iniquity. Virgin most pure, Star of the sea, pray for the sinner. Pray for me. There you are now, Blessed Mother, up there and keep an eye on things. So, how are you today? A bit of a dull day, but a bit of a change. Not all that heat that we were. I certainly found it hard to stick. Some people might like it, but yours truly, I'm afraid, took the opposite view. I prefer this type of weather. I'm used to it now. But yesterday, suffice to say, I had a very busy day. I headed off after doing my videos and saying the stations at the cross. And then I was going up to Navan and I said the rosary on the way. And then I parked at the New Grange Hotel and had my lunch there. They've made a few changes which I didn't particularly like, where I used to sit back further now to have dish things to do with things. So I didn't think it was such a good idea to do what they've done. And what I did notice was there seemed to be no dessert spoons. They had a load of stuff up, not one dessert spoon. So I had my dessert with a small spoon, like a teaspoon. And there was one of these sticky pudding things, which I don't particularly like. Their choice of desserts didn't leave much to the imagination. I didn't particularly like the look of any of them, quite frankly. So after that, I headed up to get the bus, and the first one that was there was the 109. So I got on that, but that was the slowest old bus I ever saw. First of all, with the road out works, that they're widened footpaths, so that everything is held up. There was nothing wrong with the footpaths. People were quite happy with it, but maybe they're putting in pipes as well because there's going to be new houses somewhere on the left. So they like with all the development in Navan, they probably have to do all this, but it really plays havoc with traffic on the Sunday. And there wasn't, would say during the week, I think it's worse. You'd like to avoid Navan like the plague in some ways because it's you're held up the whole time. So I got, well, it was in ages on it. I went to Dunshaughlin and all the rest of it. So I was visiting two ladies I know. They're in a nursing home in Shankill, it was known as Priorswood, this is what I was told. But it's not called Priorswood, it's got some, but it was near Lidl. So by the time I got to Dublin on the 109, I had to get a taxi. And there was a fellow called Mohammed, I saw it on the thing. Mohammed from, I forget what, Morocco. I even guessed Morocco. And first of all, he said it might be 30 euros, but it turned out to be 50. So Mohammed wanted to do his sums a bit better. But suffice to say, I met the two my ladies, and the one that I know, Margaret, she was asleep. This was about 3 o'clock or thereabouts. So I had to sort of shake her. Apparently, she sleeps a lot. And I had brought up a couple of prayer leaflets that I have. In the sea, one like this, one like this. This one here is a prayer leaflet, and it's very good. And there's the Lord's Prayer, the Hail Mary, the Glory be to Father, Apostles' Creed, the Confiteor in the old style, that we were taught years ago. And then the act of faith, act of hope, act of love, and I mentioned people that are close friends, my dad and wife Julie, and I mentioned this 3 years indulgence, so I had to mention it for them that had chartered their time. But suffice to say, I brought one of them and I brought another little one as well, and I brought holy water, not holy water, little bottle of it, because I have a feeling that holy water mightn't be available, and that they mightn't even have a nursery, which is a very good thing to have in a nursing home because it'd be mostly Catholics, or even anyone at that stage wants to maybe meditate in a little artery with the tabernacle there, and maybe an opportunity to get mass. I didn't inquire into that, but anyway. So, by the time, as I say, I got there, and then I introduced myself, and she shook hands, and I say holy water, and I brought a cake and biscuits. Whether to be able to eat them or what. So then her sister Gay is there as well, supposed to be in a room beside her, according to what I was told, but I couldn't see any room beside her, so I inquired. And her sister Gay was downstairs with other people. They were relaxing or what have you, but they were awake. So down I went. I think I had to go down the lift. There's no stairs as such, it's lifts. Because of the people that stared and need help probably in all sorts of ways. And I don't think they have a toilet in their room. They must have to be brought to wherever it is if they're not able to walk themselves. But her sister Gay was down there and she looked pretty good. I'd recognise her. Margaret looked very poorly. So I'll have a safe prayers for her, safe prayers for the both of them and their families and their lovely sister Josephine Fuller, where she was married. And she's a daughter doctor. She died, and her husband Alan, and I pray for them as well. And they're buried in the little village that they were from in County Waterford. I can think of it when I'm not talking, but when I'm talking, Ballyhale, a little village anyway, and I graveyard there. I visited one time, and because their sister Josephine and the husband were cremated, and the doctor brought them over. I know her name now, and I can't think of it either. They were brought over and buried in the family plot where the father and mother is buried. So I visited the church and said prayers, and then visited the church and said prayers and lit candles for the happy repose of their souls. But anyways, so Gay and had a bit of a chat with Gay, and she showed me her family because she had a daughter that I was very fond of, and her husband. They lived in Castleknock, and that was Caroline. And so Gay showed me the thing, and she was well able to talk, and thanks be to God. And I had a Bible. I showed her a small Catholic Bible, but the print was too small for her. Even if she had glasses, so she mightn't be able to read it, you know. Whereas I can read these things myself. Anyways, so I had a bit of a chat with her, and I gave her some of my cards to give to her daughter Caroline, so she'd be able to use the internet and be able to follow what I'm doing and what I'm saying. So by the time that was over, I left and I inquired with the lady who was the receptionist, and she was Irish. A lot of them were foreigners there that I could see, and coloured ones and that, you know, and they were helping enough, but. And then most of the saying, but the receptionist girl was an Irish and from Dublin, I would think, because she's the same accent as we have. So I asked her where the station was because it's not signposted anywhere, the Dart. And I said from Shankill, like. So I said it was down straight, and so down it goes, and there's a couple of people walking that I knew would be local, and I said, is the Dart is the railway station down here? Oh, I said it is, and I said, is it over the hill? They said, oh no, just before that you turn in and there's a park. So I followed that, but the station itself wasn't signposted. But as I went in, I saw it, and so in I went, and I got I wasn't there a minute nearly when the train came, so I was just in time for it, and I got off at Westland Row as I knew it, but it's called Pierce or something now. They've changed everything, don't they? Pierce, Paddy Pierce, the patriot that was executed by the British, named after him. So off I got because I used to get the NX for Navan there and was very handy. So I went up, the bus stop was further up for that. But the timetable indicated the next one wouldn't be until 8 o'clock. So to get back down to and into the station and get off at Tara Street and go to the bus station. And when I went to the bus station, then I asked, there was an inspector type of chap that's there, and he's there all the time, kind of thing, and he helps people. So I asked him about the bus for Navan, um, the 109. Oh, he said, there's a better bus, the NX. I said, that's right, yeah, but he says it goes every 20 minutes, but does it do that on a Sunday? I said to him, oh, it does. And I go over there towards the Transport Workers Union headquarters, and there's a bus stop there, and you come every 20 minutes. So I said to them, I said the timetable doesn't say that, but I'd head over. So I did, and have another long walk back, and over it goes, and I'm sitting there, and I say to a chap, does the NX bus come? Oh, yes, it won't due in 10 minutes. Oh, so that's good. And it did come. And the driver was Irish, I could see. And I had my free pass, if you like. Did the needful. But then he changes, and who gets on? Only a foreigner. Good God, you can't ask them anything. So my car was parked in the New Grange Hotel, but there's a stop kind of opposite what would I call it, a bed and breakfast type of place. And if I had been parked in the other hotel, not the New Grange, the two hotels, this other one owned by the one O'Shea's builders they were, and the other one which would be nearer. But the New Grange from where I was after getting off was further, and the lad said, "Oh, you've a long walk. You should stay in the bus." And says the foreigner, I said, "The new, oh, yeah, I mentioned about the new, well, it only stop at a bus stop." And funny enough, there's no blinking bus stop, which is dreadful between there and where the New Grange Hotel is. And then there's all these barriers, so I walked. And then I walked up a bit, and I went on the kind of the main road. But I had a route to stay on the road I was on because it would have been handy for it. So I went on that. Then I had to go up the hill, and I just lost my bearings then. So I asked a man and his wife there, where the New Grange, and I was there, it was just down there. So it would have been handy if I said in the other road that it was on, a top road, because you can go straight through to it. And so I went further, talk about a long walk. It seemed to be about a mile. Imagine the bus stop not stopping anywhere further along there so that people could get off if they were going somewhere in that direction. Because I actually don't know where it stops. It might even stop further than where I actually got off. Um, so, anyways, I'll tell you, I was tired. So by the time I got home, I was after 8:30, and when I was closing the gate, my neighbour, Bernie, was talking to her for a few minutes. She was there, and I said I'm later than I would like to be. I was tired, and when my car was parked in the New Grange in their car park, I had a right to go to the other one, the other hotel, which is plenty of parking in it, and it would have been handy when I got off. I wouldn't have had to walk as far. So I didn't get home until, and by the time I actually I closed the gate and had the shop, and then did the other one. It was nearly 9 o'clock. And now I was going to have a sandwich or something in the hotel, but they had this old music, sort of like a group, and the noise of them in the where I was going to have it, well, I just couldn't be listening to it nearly. So I had to do it out. So I didn't have on these. No point in me having on these at the hours I was doing because I go to bed usually about 9:30, 10 o'clock. But I was so tired. Didn't even have a rest. Normally I'd have a little bit of a rest after, say, me dinner. and you can't have a rest in the bus. And finish my prayers on the bus, Chaplet of Mercy. Then I did another one back, or other ones that I prayed for that have difficulties. So there you are. That's what happened. I couldn't do the videos that I might know, the chat that I would do normally every evening. Couldn't just do it. I was that tired. And I was even tired today, and I was just having a rest after me dinner in the small bedroom there, just having a rest. And I had the blinds closed, and God, if me cousin didn't call, and I could hear him knocking, and I wasn't going to answer. But he must have went home, got a key, and come back. So he heard him say, "I'm having a rest," and call later if you like. Sometimes he calls at times when I'm sometimes having a rest here with my feet up in the chair. But with the day that happened yesterday, and I just want to get back to normal, because thank God other boys, everything's all right. But the amount of walking I had to do, and the long day, I couldn't believe it. It'd be better if I was staying with my friend in Palmerstown and going the bus in there. It wouldn't be that long. But coming from here was a different kettle of fish. So I don't think I'll be visiting there anymore because my good friend Margaret, I think she looks very poorly. Good God help her. And she sleeps a lot. That's a very poor sign. And I think she's not long for this world. Her sister Gay looks much better. I'd recognise her, but Margaret, I didn't hardly recognise her. She just aged something fierce altogether, and God help her. So I just say prayers for herself and her sister and their beloved sister Josephine and her Josephine Fuller. You married a lad Fuller, and she was a nurse herself too. So was Margaret, and they lived in Port Law. That's the place in Waterford. That's where they were from, lovely little village, and that's where the father and mother's married, and Josephine, their sister, and her husband Alan, in cremated. They cremated me, and there was a ceremony for her as well, and Margaret and her sister and families were down at it. And then Josephine's daughter, a doctor in some Cardiff or somewhere. So that's the story. And so back to normal. And I think I paid a visit and did my duty there. Well, it's always good to do things like that. But God almighty, I was so tired. Slept like a log. I couldn't even have a little read or nothing. And nothing to eat. But once I heard that, like a banner grew. But all I could hear were the noises of it. So you couldn't eat and comfort in that kind of carry on. I'm not interested in that type of stuff. I want to have a meal. I prefer if there's no television on or anything. Sometimes I have a television on. Who wants to be looking at a new television? If I could look somewhere that I couldn't see it. But then if you're up in some other part of another television somewhere, so no matter where you're sitting, there's a television. If I had anything to do with it, I'd tell it to turn the thing off and have a bit of, what would they call it? Music that lifts the spirit. That type of tranquil music, spiritual music, if you like. And it just lifts the spirit. You don't hear it, you hear this old stuff that is nearly annoy you because it has nothing to it. It's only modern rubbish, that type of way. So bye now and enjoy the rest of your evening.